because I don't know when you're going to watch this, so we'll just say happy now. You guys, the energy has been so intense leading up to this full moon. I don't know if you're tuned in or tapped in, but if you feel it, but I mean, we saw it in the way people reacted to the Super Bowl. We saw it in the way that people reacted to tearing up a piece of paper. I'm not going to go into it, but whoa. It's pretty wild out there. But I wanted to pop on here and talk about my spiritual awakening, and I pulled a card for myself before I came on here, and it's Bridget, and it's Don't Back Down, and it says stand up for what you believe is right. And oh man, is this a big part of my spiritual awakening. And I think what led to it is last March, I was so in the zone, and I was like, I shared this video, I talked about my past, I was really open and just very vulnerable, and I felt really good about it. And then I had somebody in my family tell me that video really hurt them, and it sent me spiraling. It sent me spiraling because I was like, oh no, I don't want to hurt people. Like, this isn't supposed to hurt people. But then it was like this struggle, this inner struggle of what can I share and what can I not share? But I think it's the way that we share, right? We have to make sure that when we do share our story, it's from an empowering place. And the thing is, it has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else, because we are all just doing the best that we can. And I am extremely stubborn, you guys. People can tell me what to do, but until I decide that it's really time to do it, it doesn't matter, okay? I have an Aries moon, I am Sag rising, and I am a Capricorn sun. Hi, stubborn as all get out. I'm working on it though. And honestly, I think what I've realized is the eclipses that we had between Capricorn and Cancer, because I don't have any Cancer in my chart, but the opposite of Capricorn is Cancer. So finding the harmony between those two signs, I think, has really been my biggest work, and becoming gentler with my approach and the way that I listen to people. Because here's the thing, I am an amazing listener. I can hold space. I won't completely lose it because I'm holding that space for you. I'm staying strong for you so that you have the ability to let yourself go where you need to go. But one of my biggest struggles is allowing others to hold that space for me. And I know that. And that's something that I'm working on. But I really think that eclipses brought up so much emotion that I had just been holding in, because I still just wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted this deep connection with myself, and I just couldn't get there until it was around July, and two of my Sagittarius friends had just had babies, or were just about to have babies, And I realized, well, now who do I hang out with? Like, these were my people. And I was always the type that was like going and doing all these things. And, anytime anybody asks me to go on an adventure, I'm like, heck yes, I'm in. Let's do it. And I didn't have anybody. And it was summer. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this what depression feels like? But it's summer. Am I supposed to be depressed in the summer? It was the most bizarre thing. But it was also so beautiful because it gave me the space to sit and say, okay, Amanda, your friends just had babies. Is that what you want? What do you want out of this life? And I had to get really honest with myself. And I was like, no, I don't. Like, I want to give birth to a transformational program that will help humans become the very best versions of themselves. But I had to realize that you have to do the work first. I think the big problem is, in counseling and that, like I said at the beginning, you can be amazing at holding space, but you have to be able to allow somebody to hold space for you. Or you have to be able to look at your shadow. So I spent from July to November working through my shadow. That's not fun. But that was also how I got to this place where now I can get on my Facebook and say, hey, this is me. If you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to. You don't gotta follow me. You don't gotta like things. But I'm gonna show up as me because I'm not here to be anybody but myself. I'm not here to make you like me. I'm not here to gain followers so that, I feel worthy. I'm worthy right now, just as I am. And it's a beautiful place to be, but it's a lot of work. But I wanted to share some of the books that helped me. And I really like this one. It's called Radical Awakening. And one of my favorite things to do is just open it and see what transpires. So I opened it, and it's funny because this is what I was feeling. But it says guilt. Guilt is a great cover-up for real feelings. It must be my fault. Firmly puts the lid on whatever feelings we may have learned to label as unacceptable. When we deny our authentic expression, we build up a reservoir of grief, desolation, and despair. Guilt is a way of making sure we never get near the horror of what lurks inside. Unfortunately, it also dampens our joy and delight. It's like a heavy suit of armor that keeps you from experiencing the vibrancy of life. And I had so much guilt after I posted that video, and I didn't know how to get myself out of it. And it took work, it took time, but I managed. But that is the beauty of spirituality. Like this book, I highly recommend it. It's called Radical Awakening. It's by Amoda, and it's discovering the radiance of being in the midst of everyday life. And it truly is such a beautiful book, and it was such an eye-opener. And now when I go back and read it, it's just chocked full of so much wisdom. And this was my very first book that I got, and it's by Dr.Wayne Dyer, Living an Inspired Life. I love this book. I go back to it often. Truth inspires other. Finally, and perhaps most urgently, we need to live and breathe the truth, because nothing inspires other people more than being in its energy field. Years ago, I wrote an article called Who Do You Trust?, in which I explained that the trust issues rest on who we seek out when we want truth. Are we drawn to those who will tell us what we want to hear, or those who are unafraid to be honest with us, even if it might be unpleasant or difficult for us to hear? The answer is obvious. We prefer to hear the truth. Honesty is a necessity if we're ever to live in harmony with spirit and become a source of inspiration for others as well. When we shade the truth, a part of our brain registers this incongruity. It shows up as a disconnect from God, and we're out of balance. Our body reacts, becoming weaker in the face of any falsehood, including our attachment to the false self known as ego. As we practice living and speaking from our truth without being hurtful or arrogant in any way, we reconnect with energy we emanated from in the first place. Speaking my truth. You guys, my Chiron is in Gemini, and Chiron is your wounded healer. So Chiron is what I am here to heal. And Gemini is all about communication. So the most important thing to me is for me to speak my truth. And it's so beautiful to see that I went from that girl who would look to my mom to say, I don't know what to say, to be able to say, no, this is how I feel. This is my opinion. This is my belief. And you don't have to agree with it, but you do need to respect that I have that. And that is so powerful. And that is truly why I wanted to create this channel, why I felt like I was ready, because I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. I know what I want to say. I know how to inspire myself so that I can hopefully inspire you. And I think what we need is just people living an inspired life, because right now there's so much sadness, there's so much numbing out, there's so much guilt and overwhelm and pain and shame, and I have to do something. I have to. And I have to stand up for what I believe is right. So I will. Alright. I didn't know where this video was going to go, but I just felt the call, so when spirit calls, I answer. I hope that you have a beautiful now, and I will see you soon.